Hey Box developers, I'm Alex, your Box developer advocate. And I'm here today with Ben, our fearless leader of Box AI and our CTO. Hi Ben.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, how's it going?
Going great.
Well, I wanted to bring you in today to chat about our future enhancements of the Box AI platform API. Developers are saying great things about our first release, but they're very excited about what's coming next. Before we go there, I've been asking everybody, what is your favorite thing now that AI has become like mainstream?
My favorite thing for Box or for just
I would
in
say
general?
like broadly, like just generally.
I think what I like about AI in general now is that today when people are thinking about like what's software's future, they're thinking much bigger than they were before.
Right.
So before you might have looked at like incremental improvements, you kind of see how they all stack up. But with AI, there's definitely the promise that things get way better, like way faster. And so you start to see people actually predicting in the next 1 to 2 years as things will just sort of go from this like nice incremental curve to something that's completely kind of hockey stick level growth. And even if some of those aren't going to come true, that kind of thinking ahead of the future, what could be possible, is actually very fun, and it's a very kind of great time to be in software, in particular because everything is software is looking at AI now. It's just great all around.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is like a great time to be in software development. So for those of our viewers out there that don't know who you are, can you give us a quick rundown of what you do here at Box?
So I'm Ben Kus. I'm Box CTO. Been here for about 9 years. And my job is big strategic changes to across Box. And since AI is probably one of the most strategic things that we're working on, not only at Box, but across the industry, this is one of my primary focuses at the moment.
So our first set of Box AI features came with like really powerful things like text generation, metadata extraction, document Q&A. What can you tell me about like what's coming next soon, like in the next few quarters?
So I think there's kind of two different ways to answer that. So first is that of the things that you mentioned already, there is a lot of work to do to make them better in using the latest and greatest technologies. For instance, like for something like, let's say, like multi-document QA or like Hubs AI, like even though today you're allowed to get these really great answers across a number of documents, some of the future of these things, it'll just keep getting better. For instance, things like multimodality, being able to use images, audio, video, spreadsheets. You could imagine today in Hubs, like if you looked at it or if you're using our API, you could say, I have a question for this like group of this corpus of data, and it'll give you a great text answer. But imagine that not only it does that, and then also provides, here's some snippets of videos that talk about this. And I've incorporated that in my answer. And here's in this PowerPoint, here's a graph that shows you some information about your question. And these kind of putting this all together, both from a embeddings aspect where you're able to search across these things, in addition to a large language model aspect where it's able to like look at all of it and give you an answer. I think this is a really interesting and valuable thing that comes out of these approaches that we're looking at now. But then going forward even one more level,
right.
I would say that some of the most interesting things across the industry, but also something that Box are really interested in, is this idea of using AI not just to do one little thing, one answer. Like in many ways, it's quite amazing that if you ask AI a question about a set of documents, it's able to be like, here's an answer. If you ask it to synthesize some data, it's like, here you go. It kind of, without hitting backspace, almost like a human, it just kind of goes through and it gives you this great answer. Yeah. And then, imagine what that could do if, like a human, you like actually let it think about it, and you let it like kind of process and make a little plan and evaluate and do research. And I think this is a future of some people will call it agentic workflows, or the agentic future, or even a multi-agent workflow where you start to have AI working with AI to be able to not only get you the kinds of things you see today, but also sort of think about it more and give you more elaborate answers. Kind of the way with a person, sometimes you ask a question and you get an answer, right. But then sometimes if they work with their team, they come back, they're able to do even more higher quality work, more comprehensive and complex outputs. And I think this is a big part of what we're interested in going forward. Awesome.
I love to hear all of those things. So for our developer community out there, how can they get more involved using Box AI?
So for me, like one of the key things with AI at all is that it's usually great to just get started doing something simple. Okay. So usually for something like your content, one of the most straightforward things you can do is to be able to like go get information out of a file and ask a question of it. So yeah. And then once you kind of understand that and start to use that, figure out the aspects of the way to call that, authentication, all the kind of the basics of getting it working, then you're able to then continue to build on that. Because the great thing about AI is that if you're able to just like let's just say ask it a question or do an AI query, you're able to then get more and more value by just doing more and more complex queries. So one of the things that I would normally say is like get started doing something really straightforward, like the kind of the equivalent of the AI hello world. And then depending on what you're doing, whether it's like this document QA or multi-document QA or metadata extraction, I think the next thing to do is to try to figure out the limits based on whatever your use case is. Usually, although AI is wonderful, it's not perfect on everything it does. And so it's really great just for AI in general is to figure out where it's gives you maybe it's better than expected answers and where maybe you have the room to change the prompts and be able to figure out where it can't quite yet live up to something that you were hoping for. Right. And understand that up front is usually, like, in my mind, step one of using AI. And within Box, it would be using the capabilities we have on our existing corpus of content.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate all the insight you've given us today on where Box is kind of going with its AI service.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, looking forward to it.
Thank you for checking out this video on the Box AI Platform API. If you'd like to find out more, please check out our Box AI Developer Zone at developer.box.com. You can follow us on X at Box Platform, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Box, and check out our new link